Wicked harkens back to a movie age pre-pandemic when blockbusters inspired hope. And not to say that current films don't, but recent hits like Barbie and Oppenheimer dealt with nihilistic themes more than most billion-dollar films had. Perhaps being the most hopeful blockbuster since 2020, Top Gun Maverick still examines themes of ending and mortality, with a focus on moving on and how to find oneself later in life. This might not make sense to some, but bear with me. Wicked reminded me of a film from 2015 or 2016 in the best way possible. Before this mass polarization of fandoms and politics and to a larger extent society, and I hope it can mark a shift in modern cinema back towards that, as it seems most people on every side of the aisle liked this movie and didn't try to make a political statement out of it. And it was just fun and hopeful and expanded us outward into the world rather than retreating back into an examination of a world we're already in. To get my thoughts on the film out of the way first, the performances all range from good to great, and everyone's more charming and more fun than expected. The dance numbers exude magic, and the color looks better on the big screen than in any of the trailers we've been seeing on our phone or laptop screens. Although I still think it's not at the level of one of my favorite films and musicals of all time, Steven Spielberg's West Side Story from 2021. Not just the color, but it lacks the same flavor, I would say, vision, and overall magic. It still contains all of these things, don't get me wrong, but not to the same consistent degree. Some shots do give me that same feeling of sitting up in my seat and marveling at the scale, but it felt more controlled and precise, and without the freedom, fluidity, and instincts that could have made it possibly better. Certain shots and sequences certainly did awe me. If I'm measuring my awe on some scale, it's just not a 10, that's all I'm saying. Until the end, which maybe because I love musicals, felt like a 10 the second time I saw it. My first time viewing Wicked, I liked it. The second time, tears rolled down my cheeks as the screen cut to black and up flash to be continued. Spoilers, kinda. Although the story focuses on an outcast and persecution, the ending reminded me of pre-pandemic films and even aspirational movies from the 1980s or pre-2000s to say, even 50s or so. Specifically the score. Maybe the closest example would be the way Damien Chazelle ends his films on this super high note. While Elphaba flies off into the sunset after belting out chill-inducing vocals, we hear rhythmic drums, bum 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 bum, which grows and grows, lifting us higher and higher into this epic ending. Back in the day, so many more movies would end us at the highest note possible, with a splash of energy and excitement and fervor. Whereas now films often have these quiet, beautiful notes, which I still love. Only Wicked reminded me of those older films which carry such mysterious, magical qualities, a la John Williams or CinemaScope 1950s colourful movie. And it obviously has to do with the way musical music is written. Wicked looked like a movie from 2024, but it felt like a movie from 1950 mixed with 1985 mixed with 2015 in the best way possible. To explain further, because I know it may be weird to comprehend, but this is just my perspective, how I'm processing it. For me, the years of 2015 and 2016 really nurtured my hope for movies. We came off a dynamite year in 2014 with many movies I love and I think many people see as modern classics, such as Whiplash, Boyhood, Birdman, Grand Budapest Hotel, and Interstellar, which just broke an IMAX re-release record, so people clearly love that movie. And there's others I haven't mentioned. And 2015 through 2016 gave, if not the peak, a meteoric rise in the popular attention toward blockbusters and IP, and when many of these nostalgic bait films actually ended up being good to great, and also providing amazing theatrical experiences. Within a couple of years, 2015 and 2016, we had Mad Max Fury Road, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Captain America Civil War, Jurassic World, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, Star Wars Rogue One, Deadpool, Batman vs Superman, Fantastic Beasts, and Furious 7, and I may be forgetting others. These years exemplified very hopeful times for blockbuster movie making, and many would probably call it the dawn of studios expecting billions in box office until the pandemic. They set up universes that fans became excited to explore and dive deeper into. During this time, most fandoms were not these fractured, angry groups we see today. Rather, the hopeful outnumbered the skeptical, and the future looked bright. We weren't playing in the same sandbox. It's like many of these nostalgic films updated the sandbox, or changed to a better sandbox, instead of playing in the existing sandbox alone. I don't need to go into how some of these franchises turned out, obviously, though many lost steam with audiences by their final movie, or their current movie if they're still churning them out, with exceptions, Mission Impossible probably chief among them. Rather, I only use these examples to explain how Wicked made me feel, and I hope others felt this way too. A fantasy film hasn't swept me away like this and gotten me excited for its future offerings since before the pandemic, even though we'll only get one more of these, unless they decide to come up with something. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes deserves an honorable mention, but again, it didn't make me excited for the future. I felt like we were just on a side quest somewhere. Although I am excited for when they make the new Hunger Games book, the Haymitch one, into a movie. Very excited for that, so maybe it counts. And judging by the generally positive reviews, I imagine Wicked made others feel this hope and excitement for life as well. I know I'm using the word hope a lot, but I think it's quite apt. The blockbusters since the pandemic, though fun, have felt like spinning their wheels within existing universes, not expanding them. They felt quite aimless in a lot of ways. Wicked has this grand quality of older films in a modern skin, and the world opened up on the screen, not put a cap on it, in much the way the original Wizard of Oz probably did. To tangent further and explain a flaw I have with a 3-year-old movie which I only now have a YouTube channel to talk about, to explain how Wicked had this epic feeling, I'll take the example of another post-pandemic film, and how I felt Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's entrances in Spider-Man No Way Home could have been better. This could speak to writers allowing themselves less creativity, or how Marvel approaches filmmaking, but I don't know. But I use it to demonstrate the difference between these two movies and how I feel blockbusters should have this awe factor. Instead of maybe a moment where Tom Holland's Peter Parker is in danger with no help in sight and all hope lost, where we might hear the old music creep in and Toby or Andrew swing in to save the day and catch us off our toes, we get them walking into the scene and holding for applause. In Wicked, the ending felt like a swing into action when all hope is lost. You could even compare this to the Marvel movies pre-pandemic and when Captain America grabbed the hammer. That's how you introduce something exciting. In Wicked, the ending felt like a swing into action when all hope was lost, when the hero needed it most, and made us feel like we could fly. To keep it in the 2000s, it felt like a Millennium Falcon doing a barrel roll, or the lightsaber flying to Rey in The Force Awakens, or Superman's flight in Man of Steel, or further back bullet time in The Matrix, or the DeLorean flying off into the distance, or Indiana Jones riding off into the sunset, or Tom Cruise's trench run in Top Gun Maverick, if I'm being honest. If these studios can learn anything from Wicked and Top Gun, a sentence I never expected to say, it's that we want our movies to make us feel like we can fly, even if that movie isn't about flight. You could take all the rom-coms, the end of Pretty Woman, the end of Love Actually. These movies give us that feeling, or end of Scent of a Woman, or a lot of these sports films that used to come out. We could talk about Ben Affleck's Air and Matt Damon's amazing speech at the end and how it elevates that film. I think Hollywood thought this cheesy style of movie making was dead, but when a movie comes out and does it really well, like Wicked, we're more reassured that it's possible, and I hope Hollywood takes that lesson and goes down this classic, cheesy but good style of filmmaking more. I hope this leads to Hollywood believing more in musicals, and I'm super excited for whenever they make Hamilton into one. I think that's going to be awesome. If anything, this makes me believe people don't actually know what they want. Musicals, if well done, typically perform extraordinarily well at the box office. Yet due to focus group testing and maybe some other factors I'm not privy to, studios never market their films as musicals anymore. A very strange phenomenon that I hope changes, especially after the success of Wonka and Wicked. Mean Girls, which I didn't see, likely didn't fail as a result of the music, but as a result of a not well done film, so I've heard. And maybe more people would have seen a musical reimagining rather than what was marketed to them, a straight remake, if the previews did show them something fresh and new. Anyways, I highly recommend Wicked. It's not a perfect movie, they rarely are, but it's a lot of fun. It has some killer musical numbers, amazing acting, and it gave me some hope, which I've repeated many times in this video. But go see it and let me know if you agree. Thank you for watching, and subscribe if you want to see more. I mean, make more musicals. Won Best Picture 8 years ago. Wait.